So we're here at your cubicle at the Washington Times. How long does it take you to get here from your house in Annapolis?
It's about a 25 minute commute. It's pretty much a straight shot from Route 50. And we're here at the Washington Times building on New York Avenue Northeast, right next to the National Arboretum. This is a converted warehouse that we've been here since 1982. And this is really a very classic newsroom. In fact, there have been a couple of movies that have filmed in here because it is such a good open space for a newsroom. You don't see a lot of open newsrooms like this. A lot of them, especially in urban areas, are in smaller areas and they're divided up. We have recently undergone a reorganization, but most of our area is still set up according to various desks. The area we're in now is pretty much the national desk, although it's become more of a task force than an actual desk. And over here we have the features desk, and features and metro are kind of mixed in there. The foreign desk is down this direction here. We have the copy desk over in that corner. That's where the news stories are finished and the headlines are written. These are some of the national editors in here. And then over to the right is the photo desk and the business desk. Our sports department is up over there, and our editorial department is over here and back. And most of the senior editors live in what we call the glass offices, the offices along the top rail and the bottom rail. A typical day at the Washington Times for me is either one of two things. I either have a story idea that I'm working on and developing, or an editor will have something for me to work on and develop. I also write a regular weekly column, which is kind of a constant thing. It's a once-a-week column, so I'm always looking for material for my column, which is generally 4 or 5 items, or 3 or 4 or 5 items, short, brief items that we put in what we call inside the ring, which is the ring meaning the rings of the Pentagon. The Pentagon is divided up into rings, although we've expanded it to cover all types of national security issues. If I'm working on a story, depending on how far along I am in that story, and usually I want to have a pretty good idea of what I'm going to write about before I'll actually alert an editor that it's time to what we call tout the story. We have a daily tout. That is a list of story ideas that are going to happen. This is put together and published internally every day for an 11 o'clock meeting. This is what we call our Washington Times. This is the reporter level. So this is what reporters see when they're working on a story. I'm going to go to the foreign desk. You'll see that this is the tout for the foreign desk. And these are the stories that are going to appear in tomorrow's paper. We have a story from Israel by a stringer there. We have some wire stories from the Middle East, Russia story. Iraq obviously dominates our coverage. We have a story from China from a stringer there. And this is what we call the tout, which will be a good part of just one section, the foreign section of the paper. Oftentimes I have to make a judgment, and sometimes the editors will make a judgment, that whether one of my brief items for my column is actually worth a story. And if that's the case, then I'll have to take that story idea and develop it into a full-blown 900 word to 1,000 word story. Our tendency is, unless it's a story that we feel our readers are really interested in, we will take wire stories on that. We will take a wire service story. If an editor has a particular interest in a topic, that editor could order a reporter to do a staff written story on that. But for the most part, we're looking for original content stories that no one else has, and we feel that as the #2 newspaper in DC, we have to fight harder to get those exclusives in order to get people to read our paper. Yeah, this is the Washington Times library. As you can see, they're in the holiday spirit.
Hello, Bill.
Hi. This is Clark Everly, one of our librarians here. This is where we keep back issues of the newspaper, and also some of the resources that we have are in rolling shelves. A lot of very good resources here to find names and numbers of people. These are our old print files where we keep clippings from. This is the equivalent of our morgue of old newspaper stories. Now, I'd say for the last 5 to 7 years, everything has been digital. And we have the Janes, all the world's aircraft, all the world's ships. This is an important resource for defense reporters when you want to look up what a Sovereign-class guided missile destroyer is, for which are in both the Chinese Navy and the Russian Navy now. This is an example of a bound Washington Times. A lot of times you want to go back and look at things. Here's some of the pages here. This is from 1997. We have every issue. And again, if people want to check something going back, a lot of times we'll want to check on, make sure that we have a correct record of something that had already appeared. And then we keep a week's worth of print copies available as well. We also have the opposition, as you can see, as well.
The changes at the Washington Times, how are things here, and what do you see the future? You see things changing a lot here to meet new demands of the newspaper industry?
We have our seatbelts fastened. It's been a roller coaster ride. We've just undergone a major reorganization. We've trimmed the staff. We are migrating a lot of the print work onto the digital side, both the internet and the audiovisual side. So we're spending a lot of time trying to figure out how to attract younger readers, how to attract new readers, how to keep the readers that we already have. And it's been a challenge. This is a challenging time for the newspaper business itself. You see almost on a daily basis newspapers folding, some of them going completely digital, laying off lots of reporters. So this is a very uncertain time. That said, I think that everybody is out there, again, trying to focus on getting that exclusive content, that scoops, that is going to help the newspaper. I have my own internet website. I've had it for, probably 7 or 8 years. It's called the Gertz file. It is a way station for two main things. One, to highlight my Washington Times stories, and it's basically divided into 2 sections. I highlight my column Inside the Ring, and then I have links to the Washington Times site from my website. On the other side, I use it to sell all of my other work, namely my books. I basically link to my book sales through Amazon.com or one of the online services. A lot of time I try to keep outside of the newsroom. I meet people and develop stories away from the newsroom. A lot of times if you're in the newsroom, you're basically a sitting duck for some editor that wants to make you write a thumbsucker story, as we call them. So, you know, I try to make sure that I get by the newsroom at least once a day, but I don't try to hang out in here too much.